Hello, my dear students. How are you all? So, we are continuing with lesson 7 packing from our beehive. And in our last class, we have seen that there are three friends Jerome, the narrator, Harris, and George, and they are going for a trip. And to impress his friends, the narrator, Jerome, said that asked his friends to leave the entire packing on him, and his friends, they also took it as he said. They sat down relaxedly, which irritated the narrator too much. He didn't like their behavior. Actually, he was not meant that he would do the entire things himself, but he wanted to boss the job. He wanted to supervise them. And the most irritating thing for the narrator is when he is doing some work and others are sitting idly, and this was happening with him. So let us see now. However, I did not say anything but started the packing. So even he felt too irritated. He didn't like his friend's behavior, but he didn't say anything. Without saying anything, he started packing, and it seemed a longer job than I had thought it was going to be. But I got the bag finished at last, and I sat on it and strapped it. So the narrator is saying that it seemed now when he started packing, it seemed a longer job. Earlier he might have thought that it's very easy to pack, it will take few minutes or less time, but it was a longer job, time consuming job, you can say. But I got the bag finished at last. But finally he finished the packing, and I sat he sat on the bag and strapped it. Strapped it means tied that bag with straps. Now, ain't you going to put the boots in? Said Harris. Ain't, this is a contracted form of are not. So, I mean, are you not going, or aren't you, ain't you not going to put the boots in? Said Harris. At that time, when he finished, he did everything. Harris asked, are you not going to put the boots inside the bag, or are you not going to pack the boots? I looked round and found I had forgotten them. And at that time, the narrator turned and found that he had forgotten to pack the boots. That's just like Harris. Now, Harris is that type of person. He couldn't have said a word until I had got the bag shut and strapped it, of course. Mean Harris, see now Harris' behavior. He didn't say anything when this man was packing the bag, okay, or before he shut and strapped it. Before that, he didn't say anything. Whenever he completed, after that, he said. And George laughed, one of those irritating, senseless laughs of his. And at that, George, the third friend, he also laughed, which was too much irritating for the narrator. One of those irritating, senseless laughs of his. They do make me so wild, and this type of irritating laughs, they also makes him wild, angry, mad, you can say. I opened the bag and packed the boots in, and then, just as I was going to close it, a horrible idea occurred to me. Now the narrator Jerome is saying, he opened that bag, okay, and packed the boots inside that. And then, just as I was going to close it, he was about to close the bag, a horrible, a fearful idea came to him, occurred to me, he saying. Had I packed my toothbrush? Whether he had packed his toothbrush? I don't know how it is, but I never do know whether I have packed my toothbrush. He's saying he never knew, he doesn't know how it happens, but he never knows whether he has packed his toothbrush or not. My toothbrush is a thing that haunts me when I am traveling and makes my life a misery. Misery means trouble. So, toothbrush is a thing which haunts, makes him afraid when I am traveling, when he travels. Whenever the narrator travels, his toothbrush his things, makes him afraid and makes his life a trouble. I dream that I haven't packed it, and I wake up in a cold perspiration and get out of bed and hunt for it. So, what happens with him about the toothbrush? He dreams that he forgot to pack his toothbrush, and then he woke up from his sleep with in a cold perspiration means sweating, and get out of bed and hunt for it. And he just gets up from the bed and starts hunting, starts searching his toothbrush. And in the morning, so it happens with him in the dream now, and in the morning I pack it before I have used it and have to unpack again to get it, and it is always the last thing I turn out of the bag and then unpack and forget it. Sorry, repack and forget it. So, what happened in the morning? The narrator, he just packs his toothbrush before using it, and then he has to unpack again it to use it, and it is always the last thing I turn out of the bag, and this his toothbrush is the last thing which he takes out from the bag, and then I repack and forget it. And then what happened? He repacks and forgets about it, and have to rush upstairs for it at the last moment, and carry it to the railway station wrapped up in my pocket handkerchief. So the narrator is saying that he when what happened, the last thing he takes out from the bag is his toothbrush, and he has to rush upstairs to take the toothbrush at last moment, and he has to carry it in wrapped in his pocket handkerchief to the railway station. And he forgets his toothbrush, and every time he has to rush to take it, and then there is no time to pack, so he has to wrap it in his pocket handkerchief. That's all for today. Rest will take later.